Hi everyone, my name's Donkey, and today we're going to be going through something a little bit different in my Sandbox game, which is a continuation, if you haven't watched the other ones, of the original Sandbox series. So I'm not exactly going to be coding anything in these videos, I'm just going to be going through stuff that I've coded in the past, and it's basically just like a little filler. So today we're going to be covering something which is kind of important when debugging, and kind of in games as well sometimes, and then sometimes it's not important whatsoever. It's personal preference. What it is when you press escape, this kind of window comes up here, and there we go. You can type commands in. For example, add 1 will give us some dirt, add 2 I think will give us some more. I can't remember all the commands I put in. Remove, all, wipe, and count. So all, I think that gives us all the items possible, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, this is inventory I came up with as well. It's a little bit different. I might go through that in another video. But anyway, the commands. So there's quite a lot that goes into the commands, and I'm going to go through that today. So on the very first level, it is simply a box that's drawn with an outline, and it outputs the text that you type in effectively. So that's just the drawing. There's a little bit more to it though. So anyway, to start off with, you've got the command. The command is currently nothing. Open, it's just whether it's open, and then I and I presume they're for for loop somewhere, and commands, and that's the array. So what this does is this, once we press a key, it adds to the array. So okay, now what this is so it's been a while since I did this. The array itself holds each key press. So commands and then 0 will hold the first key press. So in the case of add, I'll hold A. The command itself holds the whole command that we've written in here. Is it that? No. Okay. Hang on. So when you press enter, what's going on here is it's copying down our string for the last 50 key presses. It's then setting the command variable to that, and then adding that into the commands array. So commands just hold a list of previous arrays, and I think that's where the drawing comes in. And we're adding to II, which is the count, and I, which doesn't appear to do anything. And then we're processing the command, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But the drawing should be pretty simple. We're drawing a rectangle, great. We're drawing, oh god. We're then drawing the text in a rectangle. So what this does is it loops through the amount of commands that we have in our array, and outputs every one on a separate line. Then this bit is our current line, so this is the line we haven't entered yet, and that's quite significant. Something to point out is if we got rid of this little bit here, which is what draws the previous commands, then what we'd see is that it wouldn't look very nice. It wouldn't quite work. So it's all just like appearance really, even though it's a command prompt. Alternatively, you could just have one line, but it's nice I think to see the log in the back. And you could also potentially load this into there instead, into the log. So if we put in a command like that, you see it just skips out. We'd never see it again. It just skips down, and that's not very great because I mean potentially you could just get right to the bottom. Also, it's worth noting we have to actually input something. You can't just press enter; it doesn't work. You see, look, you can potentially get to the bottom, and then you've lost your inputs entirely. So that's something that you need to definitely have if you're building a command system. It's something that I overlooked to start with. But anyway, this is pretty much all of it. This is just toggling the open and stuff. That should be pretty simple. The main bit is just in the step and the draw. So once again, what this does is, if you've pressed enter, what it's doing is it's taking the current string, so the current line we're writing, and it's then setting command equal to it. It's adding that to the array, and then it's setting the keyword string back to 0 for the next line. And then, this is the interesting bit, is the processing of the command. So there's several different types of processing that can happen. I think this is the longest one. Or maybe that, actually. That's probably the longest one. So there's very simple ones. So this right here, this is the easiest one. This is simply asking whether we've input count, and then it's just showing the message, the count. This is the variable that we've input, and string pos simply looks within that string to find whether it's there. So if it is there, if it does not equal 0, then it prints the message. So this also means that you can put count, and you could put a little typo, so you could put count to like that. It would still work. And that works for all of them as well. Okay, so working up from the bottom, we've then got wipe. Wipe is personally my favourite, because it can be used outside of this command. And what it does is it checks whether we've got any instances that shouldn't really be there, and it gets rid of them. So I don't think we did this in the original Sandbox series, but in my series what I did was, on my game itself, I created these blocks, much like in Minecraft and Terraria, where they drop on the floor and they're physical objects, and you can go and you pick them up. So that's what I did here. But for example, if you got rid of a huge amount in one go, it could cause quite a lot of lag. So if you did, for whatever reason, create a lot and you needed to get rid of them quickly, you could type in the wipe command. It's also useful if every so often you can do the same thing. So anyway, now we're going to go from here. We're going to go from add, because add is a pretty simple one. It's first of all checking add. Then what it's doing is this is replacing. So it's taking out add. It's replacing add with blank, because we already know that we're adding. We don't need to have that in our string anymore. Then what it's doing is it's taking our spaces and making them not space. So if, for example, we type in add 1 like that, you can see there's a space there. So it would also work like that. Add 1 would also work. It would also work like that. It doesn't matter. It's just seeing add, and it's seeing spaces and converting it. So then what it's doing is it's checking if it's... Yeah, okay, that's what it's doing. It's converting a string into a real, which is weird because normally that would be integer. But it's converting it to a real. And it's saying if that number is greater than ds grid width. Okay, so what it's doing is it's saying if this isn't a valid item, if it's longer than our blocks grid, or it's less than 1, because of course that can't also be an item, then it's going to return. It's going to say no, we can't do that, that's an invalid item, and return straight back. So it doesn't try to add the item, and it avoids crashes. So, but if it passes that test, then it's just going to pick up the item, which is the same as before, it just adds it. This is literally identical. This is doing the same thing, but here it's just removing item. And then this one's a little bit different. So what this is doing is it's just taking this, it's purifying it. I don't think we actually do have to, no, we don't even have to purify this one, because what it's doing here is it's looping through 1 to 8, and they're the values in our grid, our blocks grid. So then all it's doing is it's saying, right, we're going to add first slot, we're going to add first item, second slot, we're going to add second item, we're going to add 1 to the count, and there you go, you've got 1 item in each slot from 1 to 8. And then I think this is a bit weird. We're just adding 10 for whatever reason. I must have decided I wanted 10. I think it might be a pickaxe or something important. So then I just added that in the end. Now you might be asking why this is significant. Well, if you think about it, if you're running any sort of, if you're trying to make a game, doing especially a sandbox game, where there is a definite progression to it, and you can't necessarily save all the time, and you forget to do stuff. So for example, I'm testing and I want to mine something. I want to see how quickly something mines, but I can't do it because I need a pickaxe. To get a pickaxe, I've got to mine some trees, and before you know it, I'm basically playing the game. I'm not actually debugging. So that is something that you can avoid by just making a command like all, which just, you see, it gives you a pickaxe. And there you go. You can start testing now, effectively. Or maybe you can't. I don't know. This the whole system got a little bit broken a while back. But yeah, that's the idea of the commands. So the script personally, oh, not that one. This script is one that personally interests me quite a lot. But yeah, I think in the next video we might actually go into this one, because that's something quite interesting, and it's to do with full screen, how you can go about full screen safely and not cause any problems, because it can cause quite a lot of problems. But anyway, that was my video on commands in games. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, what else do you guys want to do, and I'll talk to you in the next one.